Everybody, welcome back to the N.W.O channel. It is January 6, 2017, and apparently NASA's discovered a few objects hurtling towards Earth, and it seems that they are kind of indecisive on what one of these objects are. Now, I've been researching this for the past 24 hours, waiting for additional information to come out, and a lot of the information that is coming out seems to be coming from UK periodicals, online newspapers, and I have a wealth of information here for everyone if you're interested in learning about these two objects. I can't seem to come up with a clear answer from NASA and what they're putting out as far as information. Now, going back in November of 2016, these objects were spotted by the N.W.O's space mission, and this craft was placed into outer space specifically to detect these types of objects, comets, asteroids, things that would be hurtling towards Earth and that could become rather dangerous if they're coming too close to the planet. Now, just clicking over to a statement put out through the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA. It states NASA's N.W.O's mission spies one comet, maybe two. Now, as I read through a lot of this information, I'm going to give you links to all of this. It talks about an object they labeled 2016 WF9. It was detected by N.W.O's the N.W.O's project on November 27th, 2016. Okay, that's great. Now, they also talk about a comet, C 2016 U.F.O. But the second object, the WF9 2016, they're not sure if it is a comet or an asteroid. Well, that doesn't sound very reliable. If you don't know what this object is it a threat? They say no. But they've just released that information as far as this object not being a threat. And I've gone through a bunch of information, through a bunch of different informational sources. For instance, this one, Comet Watch. Look for the first comet of 2017 this week. This week coming up. It talks about the icy comet C 2061. It goes over a good bit of the information. And as I go through more and more articles pertaining to these two objects, headline in the Sun, periodical, NASA detects gigantic comet approaching Earth. And it's so huge, you'll be able to see it from Britain. Two massive space rocks are heading towards our planet, and you'll be able to see them entering Earth's orbit. Now, I don't know about all that, but again, there is a lot of information here. And as I was reading through this article, I stumble on to an interview with one of the astronauts on the space station who visibly saw a comet or object through the window on the space station. And we're going to go ahead and listen to his quick interview.
Every time that we look out this window, or we look out the windows in the cupola, we're absolutely amazed. And the same thing goes for being on board a space shuttle. And I would say that 2 nights ago, I probably saw the most amazing thing I've ever seen in space, and that's saying an awful lot because every day is filled with amazing things. And that was, we were flying over Tasmania. We'd actually just seen the storms in the South Pacific over the Philippines, and It was nighttime, thunderstorms lighting up the entire sky. And then, just before the sun came up, the Earth's limb was, lit up as a sliver of blue and purple. And then there was this long green arc that extended probably 10 degrees or so from the horizon. Actually, from the perspective of the cupola, in which case we're upside down, up, in my field of view, upwards. In fact, it disappeared behind the gem. At least 10 degrees, I think. 20 moon diameters, if you think about it in those terms. And I had no idea what it was. It was a long green glowing arc. And turns out it ended up being a comet that somebody in Tasmania had seen about the same time, Comet Lovejoy, that had passed about 140,000 kilometers from the surface of the sun. When it disappeared behind the sun, I think astronomers thought it would not appear again. It probably would burn up. But it's probably the most spectacular thing you can imagine. And from the vantage point of space, it's different than seeing it from planet Earth because there's no intervening atmosphere to see. So we took some really neat pictures last night of it, about 100 or so, that we hope to make a movie out of. But just wanted to toss that out in case you're interested. It's quite a place.
Well, there you go. That's coming directly from one of the astronauts on the space shuttle, or excuse me, the International Space Station. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that craft. So we keep on going through this information. Science news. NASA's WISE spacecraft spots 2 near-Earth objects. Now, once again, this information is just coming out over the past 2 weeks. Little by little, the information is being leaked out. And again, I'll give links to all of this information, and you can go over it, come to your own conclusions. But what's bothering me is a Russian astronomer has publicly come out and is talking about this comet, asteroid, whatever it may be, 2016 WF9. Now, he has a really, really big Russian name. Here's his name right here. Last name is Zakharovich. And I've looked this gentleman up, and he seems to pop up everywhere as a credible, professional Russian astronomer. He's claiming that these are fragments being bumped into the Earth's line of fire from Nibiru and the Nemesis solar system. He's publicly come out and made these statements. I mean, you can see right here, it says Nibiru whistleblower. Damir Zakharovich. Now, I've looked up his name, and there's a lot of credible information pertaining to this article. And it goes on, and it talks about his research and what he's been investigating as far as the Nibiru and Planet X Nemesis solar system. And then I found another article pertaining to this gentleman. This goes all the way back to June 29th, 2016. Russian Nibiru astronomer fears for his life. And we've heard this time and time again. This goes all the way back to Dr. Robert Harrington discovering the Nemesis solar system back in 1983-84. And then right before he was ready to publish all of his findings, after submitting them to the United States government, all of a sudden, he dies. Esophageal cancer just comes out of nowhere, and the man dies at a very early age. The mystery surrounding Dr. Robert Harrington's death still looms. All of his files have been sealed top secret. Did you ever wonder why they did that? In 1983 and 84, whenever this information was given to Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States at that time, he was said to have panicked over the discovery that Dr. Robert Harrington made. And then over the next several years, as more information came out and they were actually able to image the Nemesis solar system through the IRAS craft and space telescope, I think the paranoia set in. And since then, there have been approximately over 120 astronomers and scientists that have direct relations as far as research and investigations into the Nemesis solar system, Planet X, Nibiru, whatever you want to call it. They've all met very untimely deaths. Is that just a coincidence? Or is there something more to it? Because naturally, all scientists and astronomers, once they discover something, they want to go public with it. It's almost like being a movie star. This is their walk of fame. But it seems to be that walk of fame leads to death. So I'm going to delve into more of the investigations of this Russian astronomer, and I'm going to see what I find. But for now, I'm going to leave you with all of this information and read through it all. There is a lot of other information out there. I've checked the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, Near Earth Object website for listing this object, WF9 2016, and the other one they've designated as a comet. But what bothers me is the indecisiveness of NASA, especially when it comes to this article. And this is information that they released on these objects. But as you go through this article, they talk very little about these two objects, and then they go into the craft, the N.W.O's asteroid comet seeking craft that they built and placed out into outer space to find these objects. Well, here's my question. Our galaxy, our universe, just absolutely immense. You can't even fathom the size of it. So, in my mind, if you're going to launch a craft into space to find objects that could possibly be a threat to Earth, how do you know which direction to launch the craft if you didn't have other information leading you to the point when you launch this craft and in the direction where you're sending it? That's the question I have. And we've seen so many occurrences over this past year of 2016, so many objects that NASA has missed. And this goes all the way back to 2013, when NASA missed the object that exploded over Russia, doing damage, injuring people, no deaths, nothing cataclysmic, but definitely a sight to see. So this makes you think. It makes you think very hard. What are they actually doing? Are they actually telling us the truth, or are they just going through the motions and running scared, not knowing what to say? Because it is very startling to find NASA discovering these objects in late November of 2016, and now all of a sudden, these two objects are knocking on our front door. So I'll leave you with those thoughts and all of this information. All of the links will be in the description box under the video. Thank you for watching the N.W.O channel. We'll be back with an earthquake update in about 1 hour.